I was a senior in high school, Parsons High School. 1943, I got my call to go into the service draft notice. I was drafted, I didn't volunteer. And when I asked for and got a deferment, I would have went into service in January of 43, but I got a deferment until school was out last of May. And the 2nd of June then I got my call, I went into the service and went up to Columbus, Ohio, Fort Hays, Ohio, and they selected us. I was young, 19 years old, and they wanted young fellows for the Air Force. So I was assigned to the Air Force, and they left Columbus, went down to Greensboro, North Carolina for basic training there for about 13 weeks. And then when we got through basic training, they asked what branch of the Army or what you wanted to do in the service, and I said I'd like to be a meat cutter. Said, well, you got to go to cook and baker school for that. I said, well, that's fine. Said, no, your talent shows that you can do more higher skill work than that. I think you make an airplane mechanic. I said, oh my God. So then they sent me to airplane mechanic school down in Biloxi, Mississippi for about 6 weeks, or 6 or 8 weeks. So anyway, when we got through there, then they assigned us, they sent me to aerial gunnery school. So I went over to Panama City, Florida. When we finished that, then we had to go up to Westover Field, Springfield, Massachusetts, and we were assigned to a crew, a combat crew. Well, it was on a B-24 bomber, Liberator bomber, and there's 10 men to a crew on there. So they sent us back down to Georgia for training. We was down there for about 3 months. And then when we got our training, they sent us, we were supposed to take a plane over to Europe. We didn't know where over there, but Europe. And when we got got down to Georgia, got through, then they sent us up to New York. We were supposed to pick a plane up in Mitchell Field, Long Island, New York. And whenever we got up there, they said, no, you're going to go by boat. So they sent us back down to Virginia. We got on a French, it was all French crew boat the government had leased from France. And we left Portsmouth, Virginia, Newport News, and we landed then. We didn't know where we was going until 14 days later we landed in Naples, Italy, and we were assigned to the 15th Air Force as a combat crew. And we got into our squadron a few days later. We wasn't there more than a week, 10 days. We got our first mission assigned. Our first combat mission we went on was to an airfield at Athens, Greece. We bombed the airfield there. It carried 50 100-pound bombs that were small, just knocked potholes in the runway so they'd have to. And then from there, then most of our missions was to destroy the oil. Oil was a big thing even then. Of course, the Germans need the oil to operate their machinery, or tanks, and we didn't get to fly every mission, but we flew. I got 28 missions, or sorties they called them then, and we had to fly 35 sorties. You would finish your tour, then they could bring you back to the United States, but the war ended, which I was happy about. And come back then, and they signed us into a base down in, we're supposed to go to Tampa, Florida. After we come back from overseas, we got to fly a plane back. It took us 14 days to go over on a boat. And if everything had worked out all right, we could have come home in 5 days. But we left Italy, came to Marrakech, North Africa, stayed overnight, and from there we come to Dakar, French West Africa, over on the coast there, Atlantic. And then we left Dakar, we flew from there over to a place called Fortaleza, Brazil. And we stayed all night. Pulled in, we landed and went in and parked their plane, and the plane come in behind us to park, and he got too close to us. He knocked about 2 feet off the tip of one of our wings. So we were grounded there 5 days till he got us fixed. That was the longest 5 days I ever spent in my life. On your way home, and then had to be